reclaim our own voices, empower our own people, and not look at other people to define our terms and story and rules.
Hi, it's Silas from AsianCultureVulture.com with the Cannes Film Festival, and I'm in the American Pavilion, and I'm with Mohammad Ali Naqvi, also known as Mo Naqvi, who's a very well-known filmmaker. Mo, welcome to AsianCultureVulture.com.
Thank you. Good. I'm so glad to see you guys again.
I'm very glad to see you here in Cannes, in the American Pavilion. Tell us about the Pakistani Crescent Collective.
Well, the Pakistani Crescent Collective is Pakistan's first inaugural official presence in Pakistan. We wanted to have a collective hub for our country and, celebrate our own. And Pakistan has had headways in Cannes over the last few years. 2 years ago, we had Joyland, Sam Sadiq's film, which ended up being shortlisted for the Oscars. And then also In Flames, Zarar Khan's, which also was in the Cannes Directors Fortnight last year, also our official submission to the Oscars. And so we wanted to keep that tradition alive. I think a lot of Pakistani, and not just Pakistani, but filmmakers from South Asia and filmmakers from the global South kind of operate in these isolated silos. And we wanted to change that. We wanted to give a forum for all Pakistanis to kind of come together and celebrate our own. And then that's the genesis of it.
Is
that's how it
that with a
happened.
vision to having a pavilion in the future here?
Yes, God willing, inshallah, that is the hope. We have a small but robust program this year where we wanted to debut our program with a sneak peek of the Glassworker, Pakistan's first 2D hand-painted film, with the filmmakers, Usman Riaz, the director, and Khizr, who's the producer, before their world premiere at Annency. And it cannot be underscored how significant that is, that it's the first time that we have a 2D animated feature coming out of Pakistan, but it's also at the Annency Film Festival. And then we also have a South Asian film market that we're co-sponsoring and co-hosting with the Tasveer Film Festival. We're co-hosting the reception and the announcement. And so, we're really excited about that, and we're hoping that we get more friends and allies involved and, give a platform for future generations of filmmakers to advance our visual culture.
How do you assess the state of filmmaking in Pakistan?
In filmmaking of Pakistan, you have to look at it in terms of context and the infrastructure and the parameters that we have to deal with, which are, of course, not as grown or mature as maybe like other advanced film industries like abroad. Having said that, what we're able to accomplish with the meager resources that we have is nothing short of phenomenal. And I want to celebrate that. And I'm so glad that we're able to. And even in Cannes right now, there's a small little presence of this, so that there's like 25, 30 of us, and we wanted to take a group photo of Pakistani filmmakers, tastemakers, and people in the industry, and we wanted to feature them. And we're like, hey, you guys, we're not alone. Let's be together.
Yeah. And how would you assess the state, like diaspora market, and connecting people who are obviously in different parts of the globe, but have a South Asian heritage and a kind of common culture which we can all tap into and understand and relate to?
I think the Pakistan, not just the Pakistani, but even the South Asian diaspora. Each South Asian diaspora has its own very unique individual voice, and that exists within diaspora in the UK, diaspora in America, diaspora in Canada, Australia, other places. And, same thing in Pakistan and same thing in India. I think there's regional cinema that exists. But I think what unifies all of us is that we have a common heritage and a common story, even if it's diasporic filmmaking. And I think it's about time that we celebrate our own and tell our own story rather than looking at some Western colonialist gaze. Reclaim our own voices, empower our own people, and not look at other people to define our terms and story and rules. And that's what this whole thing is about.
You're partly based in LA, you spend a lot of time in North America, but why is it that a lot of people who, like myself, are born and brought up in the West, but still want to go back to India or Pakistan and make films there? We've got examples here in Cannes, 2 British Asian directors, but the films are set in India. And likewise, Joyland and In Flames they're both made by people who spend a lot of time in the West and or were educated and film school in the West?
I think many filmmakers would love to stay in Pakistan and continue to make films, but the reality is, especially when I was starting out 20 years ago, that wasn't a reality because we just didn't have the infrastructure or the stuff in place where we could get funding. Those things, myself and other filmmakers of my generation, even before me and after me, all had to fight for, and we continue to fight for it. And the reality is, the fact that this is an animated feature, the fact that there was a queer film coming from Pakistan, Joyland, a few years ago, and In Flames, a film that, fights against patriarchy and privileges women's rights, we all had to fight for that. Because you have to understand, unfortunately, for the longest time, we were only allowed as Asian filmmakers, as South Asian filmmakers, as Muslim filmmakers, as queer filmmakers, as Hindu filmmakers, whatever your intersection might be, you were only allowed to stay in a specific space and genre. I love the fact that I did documentary films. I'd never apologize for that. But I'm more than just making nonfiction, and I have done more than just that. But in order for me to do that, in order for me to make comedies, in order for me to actually go beyond just documentaries, I had to fight against a lot of the foreign gatekeepers to allow me to do that. And that's what I wanted to change for this next generation of filmmakers and storytellers.
And what are you doing now? What's your projects that are on the go?
So most recently, I was a producer on the second season of Turning Point, which is a Netflix original series called Turning Point, The Bomb in the Cold War. I did both seasons. I was working with a really talented director, Brian Knappenberger, and I was a co-EP on it and one of the producers. And I was so lucky to be a producer on a series that was a top 10 global hit worldwide. And then I also had the release of The Accused, my previous documentary film, which was up for a Primetime Emmy. First time for a Pakistani film to be nominated in a Primetime Emmy in that category, Exceptional Merit in Documentary Filmmaking. And now I'm working on 2 new projects. One of them happened to be a fiction film, which I'm so happy to return to my fiction roots and theater roots, which I don't think a lot of your audience might know. My background was always off-Broadway theater.
Documentary work, but yeah. So can you tell us a little bit about that?
All I can tell you is that it's an action comedy, and I'm very excited to be making that.
In Pakistan or in America?
It is set in Pakistan and in Nepal.
Oh, right. Yeah. Okay. Interesting. Well, we wish you very well.
Thank you so much.
For your time.
For having me.
Thank you. Take care.